If you're looking to decorate, landscape, and just plain beautify the exterior or interior of your house or business, think pottery. Owner Brad Huff and manager Brian Huff from Pottery Fiesta and Quality Pottery are here with some beautiful examples and to tell us a little bit about their business. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for being here.
Thanks for having us,
Good to be here.
Pleasure to have you. So first of all, we should talk about how you actually got into this business, and that has a lot to do with this piece right here, similar.
This is a hose pot, and several years ago I needed a new hose pot. I live in Saddlebrook, and I went to Home Depot, was the closest place, and wasn't really happy with the plastic thing they had, and I thought, I know where I can get what I want. And it's about 35 miles away from where I live, Quality Pottery. But I found a hose pot, and as I'm coming home, I'm thinking to myself, Catalina could use a smaller version of Quality Pottery.
Yeah.
And that's how I got in the pottery business.
And that's how you got into it. And you mentioned the material of this. I mean, it's so much nicer than like plastic, for example.
This is what's called terracotta, red clay. And I mentioned it's a hose pot, so you can see there's a hole right there in the side. You can stick your hose through it. Then you wrap it up inside so it's not flopping all over the driveway.
Beautiful. I know a lot of people that could use that, and it's not the only type of material and the only type of piece that you sell, obviously. You have thousands of different types. Let's talk about the types of pottery that you sell.
Well, we basically have three different types. We have the terracotta,
okay.
We have talavera, which are these pieces, the brightly colored hand-painted pieces.
I'm sure most people have seen that type.
Right, and they're not just, we actually have them in pottery big, what we call michis, that are big round pots, and vasos. So we have them in larger sizes. And then we have high-fired pottery from Asia, which we have a piece here from China and one from Vietnam.
They're gorgeous, and it should be mentioned too, you go through a lot of work to get these pieces here, to select them, to give Arizonans the maximum selection, basically, for what they can get. And the differences you were talking about with all of these is how really they're fired, right, and the materials that's in them. So the Asian piece, for example, is called high-fired.
It's called high-fired. They fired over 2,000 degrees.
Yeah.
And there's something about the clay in that part of Asia that makes it, and it's kind of an ancient process, if you will. They have huge kilns where they take this stuff in.
Yeah.
And they fire it very high-fired, and then it's very durable. So for our climate here, it can sit out in the sun, and like in Saddlebrook where I live, it actually freezes a little bit in the winter, and it can tolerate all of those things and hold up for many, many years.
Well, that's important too. You want the piece to sort of stay intact and stay in good condition for a very long time. And Brian, talking about more than just pots. I mean, we're seeing some other pieces here. Can you sort of describe what you have?
Sure, absolutely. This right here is one of my more favorite things. It's we call it automotive finish wall art. So it has paint that's similar to what would be on your car. So it's just made to last, because especially with our son, we know that that's kind of,
yeah.
People don't want to deal with stuff just breaking away on them. And then we also, that horny toad down there, that's also some pretty cool stuff that we carry. It's like splash painted with some multiple colors. And then, yeah, that horny toad. And then also that flower to the left of you, that's really nice, you know, just garden art. If you don't have a green thumb and you'd rather just buy something that's going to last you a long time, you don't have to take care of.
Well, and that's the thing, is you guys have so many different pieces that you can actually combine to make into something completely different, sort of a piece of art. So you were saying, for example, I'm going to lift these flowers up here. You can take this, for example, put it in a pot like this.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you don't have to take care of a plant. You have something that looks beautiful and artistic, and it really, there we go, there's the example. I think it looks beautiful. It's a piece of art. It could go inside, it could go outside. And so, Brad, talking about why people should buy from you guys, what would you say?
Well, obviously, because I say so.
There you go. That's all you need, people.
We think we have one of the best selections,
yeah.
And we think that our customer service is second to none. So we really strive to make these businesses a happy, joyful, friendly place to come in and do business, and that really is our strong point.
Well, and don't just take one piece, don't just take two. There's so many to choose from. We're seeing the pictures sort of streaming by, and every color you can imagine, every texture on every pot, and you have to wonder, when you buy these, some people may not be able to lift them into their car, they may not be able to transport them. Would you deliver it for people that buy your pieces?
We offer delivery at both stores. At Pottery Fiesta, we still do free delivery for Saddlebrook and Saddlebrook Ranch. And we're happy to do that. But there's, you know, an elderly population there, and we have nominal delivery fees depending upon Oro Valley or Dove Mountain. But If you come in and buy a whole yard full of stuff, we're going to get it to you for free. The big store quality pottery, the delivery fees down there range from $35 to $70, but $70 gets your stuff all the way to Sierra Vista. So it's really, it's pretty reasonable. I mean, there's a certain amount of expense we have to operate those trucks and insurance and one thing and another. So
sure,
we're just trying to cover our costs.
Not to mention you have seasonal products too. I mean, this is perfect for this month. Obviously, we've been kind of celebrating Halloween, it feels like, for a month already because they started stocking things in the stores
early
last month. But you know, jack-o'-lanterns like this are a good alternative to having real pumpkins. You know, they can't be eaten by javelinas. Hopefully they don't knock them down. But you said you could even add some internal lights to these, sort of light them up from the inside. So there's really a lot of creativity that can be had here. And before I let you guys go, talk about the radio event going on tomorrow.
Tomorrow from 6 to 9, we've got a live radio event going on at Pottery Fiesta. We'll be broadcasting the Wake Up Tucson show there from KVOI. And we're going to have some Greek pastries and coffee at about 7 o'clock on. And then at 9 o'clock, we're going to have free Sonoran hot dogs.
Yes.
And in addition to the 20%, which is our current deal right now, we'll be offering an extra 10%. And even though they're not live at Quality Pottery, that deal is valid at both stores.
Free Sonoran hot dogs, some amazing pieces of art. You can't go wrong with that. Gentlemen, congrats on what you have here, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely. Now, you're invited again to that live KVOI radio broadcast event this Friday at Pottery Fiesta. That's at 16181 North Oracle Road in Catalina, with free Sonoran dogs while supplies last and 20% off your pottery purchase, plus a bonus 10% during the radio broadcast event. For more info, go online to potteryfiesta.net or qualitypottery.net.